All right. How about the Giants? 7 in a row. And I know there's a lot of crossover between 49ers fans, Giants fans, and whenever the home team is on a win streak in the second half of the season, and I think the Giants are something like 13 games over 500 now, and they're playing an 11-10 game and it ends on a double play, I'll let the game finish. I know some of you were talking about it in the comment section. Let the game finish, then we'll come live because we're about to enter the most exciting portion of the year when football and baseball overlap. You get the 49ers and you get the Giants simultaneously in the Bay Area. Now, it hits just epic simultaneous action in October if the Giants are in the playoffs because the 49ers then are in their second month of the regular season. But for the time being, we'll take the Giants in playoff contention and the 49ers in training camp. And they haven't started training camp formally yet, but today the first players arrived in the team facility. We had the rookies show up for the 49ers, and Darrell Luter Jr. was designated as physically unable to perform. Not on the list yet. List doesn't open up until training camp opens up next week, but Luter is on the designation with an undisclosed injury. Speaking of when it formally opens up for everybody, that's 7 days away. 7 days from the 49ers veteran reports. That's next Tuesday, July 25th. So we are CHARVARIUS WARD days away from 49ers report day. 7. We've been counting it down every day. Steve Young was a retired number 8 yesterday. Braden Willis was 9. 10, two players for the 49ers, Ronnie Bell and Zane Gonzalez. 11 was Brandon Ayuk. 12, retired John Brody. 13, obviously Brock Purdy. 14, Sam Darnold. 15, Jawan Jennings. Article coming up a little bit later this week on Jawan Jennings. I'm sure you saw his interview with me from his camp out here in Tennessee. But today we're on 7, and that is CHARVARIUS WARD up on your screen. That's a really nice thumbnail from Mike. Give him a little round of applause. And I've got a CHARVARIUS WARD stat for you. Take a look at this. CHARVARIUS WARD led all NFL cornerbacks last year with the lowest missed tackle rate at the position. He was number 2 among all qualifying NFL defenders with only one missed tackle last year. One missed tackle all season. And, a lot of people will say he's a cornerback. Doesn't really matter that much. He's got to cover. And, of course, coverage is the first and foremost duty for the cornerback position. And CHARVARIUS WARD has done that well for the 49ers. If you look through the metrics, I'd say he's a top 10 corner, right on the fringe when it comes just to coverage. But the 49ers run a physical scheme which requires, especially the top cornerback, to come down and frequently play the run, set physical edges against the run. And CHARVARIUS WARD, if he wouldn't be able to tackle, if that was something that was a problem for him, if he was getting run over, if he was a liability against the run, a lot of the 49ers defense would fall apart. A lot of it is reliant on the ability of that top cornerback to crack down and play physical against the ground game. So the fact that CHARVARIUS WARD has the lowest missed tackle rate in all of football is a big deal. And it's a stat that we should pay attention to. So we talk about fringe top 10 corner when we look at just the pass defense metrics. If you looked at the pass defense metrics from his last season in Kansas City, some of the really advanced ones, some of the separation stats, he's a top 5 guy in those metrics. But it's just, play a conservative, say top 10 corner for the 49ers in terms of pass defense metrics. I think Ward catapults himself firmly into that top 10, maybe even the top 7, top 6 when you factor in what he does against the run, when you consider how solid of a tackler he is in the context of the 49ers scheme. Now, if you haven't seen CHARVARIUS WARD in person, just pay attention on TV. This guy's got big calves. A lot of cornerbacks, they've got these little skinny chicken legs, right? Just slight of frame. And you could tell, okay, this guy probably won't be as good defending the run. This guy won't be as good if you throw him in there in a true melee in close quarters. CHARVARIUS WARD is not that build. CHARVARIUS WARD, again, he's got that thick lower body to the point where you could see him getting involved in a fray, holding his ground, missing only one tackle on an entire NFL season. And that's so important to the 49ers defense. So this was a hell of a pickup for the 49ers just ahead of the 2022 season. Remember that the 49ers really struggled at cornerback in 2021. With better cornerback play, with CHARVARIUS WARD on their team, they're probably in the Super Bowl at the end of that 2021 season. Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp torched the 49ers for over 100 combined receiving yards in the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game when the Rams came back to beat the 49ers. So you can talk all you want about the injured 49ers offense, terrible pass protection down the stretch with all those, you didn't have Trent Williams obviously playing at anywhere near full strength. You had Tom Compton at right tackle. You had pressure coming from Aaron Donald everywhere. The 49ers offense obviously hit a wall in that fourth quarter. Jaquiski Tart obviously dropped that interception that could have put the 49ers on a much better track to winning. But I think ultimately, if you had a slightly better cornerback play, you don't get burned by Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham. And that's why the 49ers turned around the subsequent offseason and played $40.5 million to net the free agent cornerback CHARVARIUS Ward. And he's proven to be quite the fit for the 49ers. Now they just need to make sure they have depth behind him. We talked about Darrell Luter Jr. being designated as physically unable to perform today, not officially on that list. I have to keep on repeating that. We're going to find out a little bit more about that in about a week. But that was, Darrell Luter Jr. is one of the names that you talk about when you consider the 49ers depth options. You talk about Ambry Thomas. You talk about somebody like Samuel Womack III, maybe Deshaun Jameson, the undrafted free agent. The 49ers do have to insulate themselves in case either CHARVARIUS Ward or his right-hand man, Deommodore Lenoir, who played really good football to close last season, is unavailable moving forward. But I think along the front line, this 49ers defense is so much better than any of the units they've thrown out there over the past couple years because they now have Javon Hargrave in the middle. Right, defensive tackle's been ameliorated. You've got Deommodore Lenoir opposite CHARVARIUS Ward helping that cornerback 2 spot, which was a question mark for a lot of last season. Lenoir finished 2022 playing his best football. And you have a true number 1 corner in this guy, in CHARVARIUS Ward. And that's why we say that we're CHARVARIUS Ward days away from 49ers veteran report day because he's such an important piece. I think he's going to really benefit from playing under Steve Wilks, a DB-focused coach. Remember, it's been D'Amico Ryans, the defensive coordinator for CHARVARIUS Ward before. Ryans obviously specializes in linebackers, as he was one during his playing career for the Texans and the Eagles. Now Steve Wilks, he's a DB-focused guy, and I think working with the cornerbacks, maybe this is what it takes for CHARVARIUS Ward to firmly morph into a top 5 cornerback. Can it happen? We'll see, but it's going to be really interesting. All right, so big win for the Giants tonight. They've won 7 straight. 49ers reporting in a week. That means we're going to open it up for a Q&A. We can talk some Bay Area sports. We can really start to lick our lips in excitement about what's to come here. It's only July 18th, only baseball happening right now, but I could already feel it's like a crescendo. It's building, right? Baseball's starting to get better. Football's right around the corner. Rookies at the building for the 49ers, and veterans are going to be there in a week. So ask your questions. Let's get going. Greetings from Costa Rica, from Charlie. Hello to Costa Rica. I've never been to Costa Rica. I've heard very, very good things, though. I know that Bebop Jones is very happy, big Giants fan. Type it in all caps. It's been a nice evening for him. Double play was crazy to end the game. It wasn't very good camera work. They didn't get to the they didn't get to Wisely there at the end until after the ball had been fielded. So it was what's going on? I thought it was going to be a base hit up the middle, but all good for the Giants. It would be really cool to see October baseball in San Francisco simultaneous with the 49ers. There's a weekend, Fleet Week. I know the 49ers, the Giants hosted the Dodgers in that epic playoff series back in 2021 during Fleet Week. Well, maybe something similar can happen here in 2023. I know the 49ers host the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football to wrap up Fleet Week. Sunday, 5:20 p.m. could be a hop in time in the Bay Area and particularly in the city this fall. My flight out there is on Monday. I get situated at my spot in San Francisco on Monday night, be out at the facility on Tuesday. Like I said, 49ers are just a week away now, 7 days away from a report day. That is also report day to the facility for me. It's going to be my 7th season covering the 49ers. Also season number 7 for Kyle Shanahan, season number 7 for John Lynch. What's the health of Mitchell? I would expect him to be ready. They were saying that the stuff that was sidelining him in OTAs was minor, so I would expect him to be ready for the start of training camp. Post your question. Oh, wow. Camilo Duvall, first to 30 saves in the MLB. Giants, I mean, I know he's not a rookie. He played last year, but the Giants getting a lot of production from their rookies. I think they have the most combined RBIs from rookies, which is very, very exciting because if they're rookies, you'd hope that they would only get better moving forward. So maybe this team hasn't come close to peaking yet. Don't know what Darrell Luter Jr.'s injury is yet. We don't know if it's extremely serious, if it's minor, if it's something moderate. Again, because they can't firmly place him on PUP until next week, there's a chance he never ends on PUP because PUP doesn't open until next week. But they have to report if he shows up to the team facility hurt, they have to put him into some kind of classification. And the 49ers designated Darrell Luter Jr. as physically unable to perform today. Doesn't necessarily mean that he'll be designated as such tomorrow. Which player do I think will benefit most from Steve Wilks running an aggressive blitz heavy scheme? Well, that's assuming Wilks does run a blitz heavy scheme. We do think he's going to be more aggressive than D'Amico Ryans just based on prior tendencies. But I think Fred Warner's a great blitzer. I think that Wilks might send him more than often. I know in 2021, when the 49ers needed to when the 49ers needed to manufacture pressure down the stretch, they blitzed Fred Warner a lot, and he ate. And Isaiah Oliver, the 49ers nickel back, he should blitz a lot as well if Steve Wilks decides to, because you go back to when K'Wan Williams did down the stretch of 2021 when D'Amico Ryans had heated up a little bit. K'Wan Williams had some big pressures, including a huge one that I remember right now of Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. The reason I think about Cincinnati is because the San Francisco Giants just won there. That ballpark is not far away from where the Cincinnati Bengals play. The Reds and the Bengals are separated by a little strip of bars. Really cool setup along the Ohio River they have there in Cincinnati. Well, in that game, overtime epic win for the 49ers over the Bengals. Still remember a clutch K'Wan Williams blitz that D'Amico Ryans dialed up. That was really the game where D'Amico Ryans came of age as a defensive coordinator. He really hit his stride, and then the 49ers obviously went deep into the playoffs, even despite an exhausted and injured roster in that 2021 season. Who's the front runner for the third running back spot? I would say that right now the front runner for that third running back spot is Oren Burks to start the season, but the 49ers will have plenty of young guys competing for that spot, and they should emerge. One of them, I think the chances are, will emerge over Oren Burks at some point in the season, maybe even before week one starts. Marcelino McCrary-Ball's been with the team already for a year on the practice squad. Saw him boxing in the video that I posted the other day. Jalen Graham, 7th rounder out of Purdue, can really cover. D. Winters, good instincts, 6th rounder out of TCU. All those guys in the mix will be competing for that spot. I'm on Bosa contract watch now. I mean, we got 7 days until the 49ers report. Tomorrow it's going to be 7 days from the first practice of training camp. So that really is the first deadline. It's a soft deadline, right? It's not going to be the end of the world if Bosa misses a practice or two. But you start thinking deadline pressure, the 49ers wanting players to be part of training camp. That's going to spur some action theoretically on the Bosa front. So I'm going to start my Nick Bosa watch right around now. And I've got articles about this, what to expect that from Nick Bosa's new contract. I've even projected the years, the bonuses, the salary cap hits, because I do think that this contract might challenge Aaron Donald's for the largest defensive contract in NFL history. I think Chase Young's a future option if Washington is willing to trade him and if the 49ers decide they're going to need another edge rusher. But first, we got to get through at least part of training camp to gauge where the 49ers needs are. That's what the 49ers are doing. So if they need part of camp to gauge where they are, I think we could probably use part of camp to gauge where they are as well. This is a good question. Is there a resale market for training camp tickets? You guys can talk amongst yourselves. I don't know. I'm not looking for training camp tickets. I know Mike was talking about it. He's trying to go a couple days, so maybe you could talk about it in the chat section. Mike, who are you talking about right here? With a $17 million cap hit in 2024, does it make sense to extend him? Oh, Charvarius Ward. Let me look at his contract. Let's talk about Charvarius Ward. Let's take a look at his contract on over the cap. This guy's in his prime right now. And he seems to be a durable cornerback. I mean, you can knock on wood. I always do when I talk about injuries, but Ward is 27 years old. He's got at least a couple prime years left. I would say more than likely a few prime years left. I'm looking at his contract right now. I could even pop it up, open onto the screen for you. Even take a look at this. Here we go. Charvarius Ward, 49ers cornerback. So the cap hit rises to 17.9 million next year, and then it's a bunch of void years. So next year is the final season in Charvarius Ward's contract. They stretched out the cap hits with these void years from 25 to 27. He's got a nice looking base salary of 12.56 million next year, and then obviously all of the signing bonus that is hitting the void years is going to accelerate to hit the final year of the deal. I am wondering, I think that it's going to be interesting to see when some of this bonus money hits. It might not hit until 2025. I'm not so sure. Yeah, so here we go. All of this bonus money that's coming after 24 is going to hit in 2025 if the 49ers don't extend Charvarius Ward. 4.9 million plus the base salary will hit in 2024. So that's a big cap hit. You might be able to renegotiate him if you want to keep him for a couple of years, lower this base salary, spread everything else out into a prorated bonus and stretch even more years onto it if he's a foundational guy. Maybe, it's not quite the same boat as Brandon Ayuk, but the 49ers do have to decide if Charvarius Ward's going to be an A-lister for them beyond the 2024 season. And if 2023 helps them decide that, if they say yes to that, yes, they can extend him. And yes, they can lower that base salary. They can convert it to signing bonus. They could stretch this contract out into the future, and they can open up some much needed cap room. So the answer to Mike's question is 49ers might be able to maneuver after this season. But again, I always say this in terms of contracts. Let's wait and see how the guy plays this year, because that's going to be the main determinant in what the 49ers do. So if a player has void years on his new contract and then signs an extension, is that money part of the new contract? So any money on a player's contract, so we could pop open Charvarius Ward's deal again. The money that's in the prorated bonus column right here, and I should probably hide this so you can see. No, you could see it. It's good. The money that's in the prorated bonus column right here where my mouse is, the 49ers have already paid the Charvarius Ward as a signing bonus, and they're going to have to make sure that they have it hit their cap. They have no choice over the course of the void years. Now, if Ward finishes his contract and they don't reach the void years, then all of this money that I'm highlighting right now will accelerate. So you add 4.9 plus 4.9 plus 2.5 and immediately hit the cap when the contract ends in 2025. So you're going to owe the money against the cap no matter what. But if you extend him and instead of void in the base salary column, you have an actual base salary and Ward is with the team through 2025 and 2026, you keep the money that would accelerate at bay. You stiff arm it. You keep that money in the future so that it doesn't all accelerate and hit the cap at once. And the reason that's potentially beneficial is that the cap is expected to be higher and higher every season. So you're surfing a wave of staying under the cap. You're surfing a wave that's cresting above you if you're the 49ers. And it's like a credit card with no interest, though. People say that all these cap deferrals are like you're borrowing from a credit card, but you're not paying anymore. In fact, you're paying less against the cap as far as the percentage goes, because the cap is theoretically rising year over year. There's only been one time when it's lowered, and that was during the post-COVID fallout, right, for the 2021 season. So it's smart business to push some of this stuff forward, as long as you don't push too much of it forward so you don't overflow in future years, because you're actually paying less as a percentage of the cap if the cap is increasing. Welcome back to Parag Talk with David Lombardi. You guys didn't hear? I'm going to replace Parag Marathe, who's taking over as the chairman of Leeds United. So come to me for all your 49ers salary cap news. Do I think that Brock Purdy has a potential to be a Drew Brees style quarterback in the 49ers system? Well, let's not put the cart in front of the horse. Drew Brees is going to be a Hall of Famer, one of the most accurate quarterbacks of all time. Brock Purdy had an awesome 8 games last year. Does he have a lot of potential? Of course, but Drew Brees did this for what, almost 20 years in the NFL. So it's really hard to compare. Oh, can he become Drew Brees? Well, he's going to have to do it for a long time to become Drew Brees. Let's see at least a season's worth of longevity from Brock Purdy before we start invoking all of these Drew Brees comparisons. Yeah, Parag Marathe and Brian Hampton, Jeff Diamond, the 49ers cap guys, they might steal my proposed Bosa contract. So we'll see if they do. I mean, I could put it up on the screen here. Let's look at the Nick Bosa contract. What Nick Bosa's contract, a new 49ers record, might end up looking like. Here it is. Here's my proposal for Nick Bosa's contract, and this is obviously available with the Athletic. Will Parag Marathe steal this proposal? I've got $159.08 million. I think that adds up to $31.7 million per year, which would edge out Aaron Donald, who's at $31.6 million. I've got a minimum base salary in 2023, and I've got 2 bonuses that are guaranteed, a prorated signing bonus plus an option bonus that doesn't kick into 2024. 49ers can even get crazy and add a triple bonus structure. They can add another option bonus that kicks in 2025 if they really want to start wilding with this contract. But what I have is a cap hit of only 10 million, which would lower Bosa's cap hit by about 8 million this season, give the 49ers some room to carry over into 2024 when Bosa's cap hit would balloon to 36 million. It's going to be, 49ers in 2024, all those liabilities already, 270 million, and Bosa is not even on the books. Once you add Bosa for 2024, all of a sudden it's 306 million in liabilities, and the cap is not going to be $300 million. So I do think that they might take parts of my contract for the Bosa contract, but I do think that a third option bonus that pushes some of the cap responsibility downstream past 2024 when there's such a traffic jam might even be likely because looking at my own work here, I'm not so sure the 49ers can shoulder 36 million for the 2024 season, but they can cross that bridge when they get to it. There's stuff they can do. Just don't want to turn into the Rams, who faced a lot of cap issues, to had to start cutting people this offseason. You can't let that sink overflow. The Eagles did the triple bonus with Jalen Hurts. Yes. I don't think it'd be smart for Nick Bosa to practice if he doesn't have a new contract, right? You don't want to get hurt. You want to secure your bag. That's where he's at right now. He deserves his money. The 49ers have said they're going to pay him. Bosa has said that he's confident it's going to get done. Why go out there and practice if it's not done yet? So I do see this as something that the 49ers will likely have to finish and finalize with Nick Bosa to get him out on the practice field. Todd, thank you. Can't remember the catches the tight ends had outside of Kittle, but it was very low. He thinks the tight end room is only going to get better. Well, why don't we look here? 2022 49ers Pro Football Reference. Look at the exact catches, the amount that the 49ers had outside of George Kittle last year. Look at some statistics, 2022 statistics. I'll have this number for you very shortly. Receiving. So you had Kittle with 60 catches. You had Tyler Kroft with only 4 catches. Wow, I thought Kroft had more than that last year. Kroft had 4. Ross Dwelley had 3. Kroft had 4 for 57. Dwelley had 3 for 105 yards. Charlie Werner, yeah, Charlie Warner didn't have a catch last year. He had that drop against Atlanta, and that was it. It wasn't good for the 49ers tight end room outside of George Kittle. You're absolutely right. I have, here you go. You could look at George Kittle. I'm highlighting the tight ends, showing only the selected rows. Here are the 49ers tight ends for you last year. 60 catches for Kittle, 4 for Croft, 3 for Dwelly. That's a great stat. Thank you, Todd. Because if you've been 105 plus 57, that's 162. 7 catches for 162 yards for tight ends not named George Kittle. Meanwhile, 60 for 765. You can see why the 49ers want to bolster that tight end room. That's a good way to finish. Thank you to Todd. 49ers looking for production from either Braden Willis or Cam Latu. That's why I spent 2 draft picks on the tight end position. Everybody sub to the channel. We're getting to 40K within the next week before training camp starts. We're like 200 something short. So hit that subscribe button right now. We want to get to 40,000 by the time the training camp starts. Again, I repeat, hit the sub button. Do it. 40,000, we'd fill up Oracle Park by the time this gets going. Everybody have a good night. 3 shows tonight. More coming tomorrow. Everybody enjoy.